Hey everybody, it's Kiwikatgamer and welcome to pokemonth! Yay! This is a thing that I started way long ago, and because I really wanted to start playing Pokemon Crystal, but that's another story for another day. What really matters here is that I'm doing a review because, one, it's Pokemonth, and I figured I need to do a better review than the 4-minute review of PokeMMO. And also, I kind of wanted to keep on practicing this whole review thing since I'm new at it. But anyway, I've started thinking about what some of my favorite Pokemon games that didn't follow the exact pattern of Pokemon Red, Pokemon Crystal, all those ones. And the first thing that came to mind was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I freaking love this game. It's one of my favorite Pokemon Game Boy Advance games ever, so let's get on with it. But, before we begin our awesome adventure, we first need to get our Pokemon assigned to us. That's right, I said assigned. You don't get to pick what Pokemon you are for this adventure. It is instead given to you based on your results on a test. And not a test like, what is 7 plus 3? Congrats, you answered it correctly. Now you get to be this, you get to be Pikachu. Nothing like that. Instead, it's more questions about, like, random things. Things that maybe a random friend would ask you, a would-you-rather question. Like, you hear a scream from the other door. What is your first reaction? Or, oh no, a rotten egg got cracked in your room. What do you do first? Sniff the air? Or do you crack a window immediately? Random things like that that you don't really associate with a certain trait or quality. And these things eventually give you a certain Pokemon. A Pokemon like, I don't know, like Cyndaquil, or Pikachu, or Chikorita, or Mudkip. But, the things that I got most often was Psyduck. And my first thought about that was, Psyduck? No, there must be some mistake. You see, I'm smart. And I'm not a duck. I'm not a fat potato duck. I'm a smart-ish Kiwi cat that deserves something good like a Meowth or something better. But no, Psyduck, I got that twice in a row. So yeah, Psyduck is what I got. Now, luckily you do get to choose your partner, who is your first partner for the game and will likely be with you for the entire time. After all, he can't die. So, you have to choose your partner, and the partner will be your first partner that will go with you forever and ever and ever, and if he dies, then you die too. That's just the bond that you two have, being partners. And and it's good that you do get to choose this, because otherwise you'd be stuck as someone like, I don't know, Psyduck, and then have to go to a place like, I don't know, maybe like an iron place with lots of iron Pokemon, and then, never be able to learn fire moves. Because that would just be terrible, wouldn't it? But then I saw that there was Chikorita, and I thought to myself, wait a second, Kiwi. What if you got Chikorita and named him Regis? Because, I mean, come on now. You already have Chikorita in Pokemon Crystal. What if you had another Regis that was even better than that one, because you could physically control what they did? And then I was like, you know what, Kiwi? I got a better idea. What if I get a Chikorita and name him Regis, and that way he's from Pokemon Crystal, he's my partner that I physically control, and I'm like, Kiwi Cat, you're a genius, thank you. But before I start rambling on about how much I love this game and why I love it, first you probably need to know a few things about this game. For starters, what am I even supposed to be doing? What's the objective of the game? And to that, I have a couple of answers. About 80% of the game takes place in a mystery dungeon, a randomly generated dungeon where you have to do a few things, whether those few things be get to the end of the dungeon, collect a certain item, save another Pokemon, or fight a boss at the end of a dungeon. Either way, this is what most of the game is, and that's usually your objective. This will be assigned to you. You also have objectives outside of these dungeons. Those objectives are help other people and go back into dungeons and help them. Some of these objectives are really stupid, like escort me, even though I'm gonna run into a random Pokemon and kill myself because I'm really dumb. But I'll get to that later. Point is, there are a lot of things you can do in this game, and there's a lot of different objectives depending on how quickly you want the game to be over. You can just do story things, or you can try to keep the game going longer and help other Pokemon and get your team status to as high as it can possibly go, which I don't know how high that is because I've never tried to do that because I'm lazy and I want the game over, even though I do like the game very much. But enough about this boring technical stuff. Let's talk about the stuff that I like about the game. And believe me, there's a lot of it, so you better get comfy. I think the most underlying thing that I like about it is the idea of it itself. No other game has given you this opportunity to be a Pokemon, and as far as I know, everyone who's ever played a Pokemon game has ever wanted to be a Pokemon, or has ever wondered what it would be like to be a Pokemon. And this game shows you a glimpse of what that would be like in a civilization that is only Pokemon. And I think that's a really cool idea, and I think they did a very good job of showing that. By giving every Pokemon that you encounter its own sort of personality, its own way of speech, and its own sort of attitude towards other Pokemon, or how they view their own typing. Another thing I thought this game did really well was the mechanics of the game. It really did a good job of making it seem like it was just the same game, but from a different perspective. Let me explain. In normal Pokemon games, when you're in a fight, you are the trainer watching your Pokemon from behind. Space doesn't matter because all the attacks are only directed to them, and there's nowhere else for them to move. It'll still say they dodged or it missed, but you don't really see where it dodged or where it missed to. In this game, it's top down, so you can see distance between you and another Pokemon, and moves like Ice Beam, Razor Leaf, or any move that would have distance in between definitely mean something, because not only does the Pokemon you're fighting and the type you're using matter, but now with this awesome top-down perspective, the space and the distance between you and another Pokemon has an effect on the effectiveness of your attacks. Oh, and I also love the items that you can get. You know, like the Gravel Rock or the Blast Seed, because those deal damage and they don't take power points. They only take the quantity of that item, and they can like be thrown and do more damage if you don't have any ranged attacks. If there's someone that you want to get from far away, or like if you want to do a lot of damage to someone but you don't have any moves that affect them, like a Shedinja, then you can just eat a Blast Seed and explode them. Or how about the shopkeeper that you see in the middle of random places, and he's like, "Hello, welcome to my shop. Buy stuff from my shop." And if you fight him, if you try to steal things from him, then he attacks you. And if you beat him, no footage of me beating him because he's way too hard. But if you beat him, then you get all this stuff for free, and you get a bunch of XP. Oh yeah, and this may be going back to the first thing that I said, but even the legendaries, how even they have like their own attitude, and their speech and their way of fighting and their way of talking matches what Pokemon they are. Like Moltres, like I am the protector, blah blah blah, but like Articuno's like I am the warden, and he talks all cool and stuff. Or like Groudon, how he's so angry all the time, he's like blah blah blah. Or like Rayquaza, how he's so mysterious, and he's like you blah blah blah. I speak like a weird man who goes blah 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 blah. But just because I'm giving this game so much praise does not mean that this game is without flaws. Like the AI in this game. Oh my gosh, the AI in this game. You can't even understand how angry I am about this. It's like the AI just goes on like
Oh my gosh, watch over that freaking AC. I can take you guys on gun sports. I have no freaking moves. I'm just gonna use Raise and walk over them. Even though I know I'm supposed to be helping. But no, I'm just gonna go over and ruin your entire day. And make it so like your entire day is ruined. So I'm gonna go over and
whew. That wasn't good. What I was trying to say was, the AI in this game is really bad. You can fix this later in the game, but to do this it requires a lot of grinding, which requires a lot of going to the same place a bunch of times in a row, finding one item, giving that Pokemon that item, and then having to do it to every single Pokemon in your group. No, I don't even care about that. Some of the bosses that I was fighting didn't even matter, because anytime that I fought them, it was imperative that they did not make an attack, otherwise they would insta-kill, and yet, my teammate was like, I'm gonna poison powder, because you can't be poisoned and paralyzed at the same time. I hate you, Regis. Like I said, this can be fixed, but to do this requires a lot of unwanted steps, like having to pause the game, tell them what moves they can and cannot use, and then let them go again. But I really don't like that. I don't think that's a good idea, and I wish that they would have let you actually tell them what moves to use, in what order, And, yeah. I probably need to fix up my house after this. And that's the only big, main, huge thing that I really don't like about this game. So, yeah. Let's talk about the story now. By the way, huge spoilers for this next part! So, just like any good game, the story is told gradually, and you learn more about it as it goes on. After all, you are part of it, not just the game story, but a story within the game. Let me explain. Long ago, or so the legend goes, there was a Ninetales, and this Ninetales had an ability that anyone who would touch his tails would be cursed. And eventually someone was dumb enough to touch the tails. It was a human, and this human walked over and for whatever reason touched the tails. And he was about to be cursed up. But then, suddenly, his Pokemon Gardevoir came over and tried to save him. The Ninetales was like, "What, Gardevoir? But you don't, why are you?" And Gardevoir was like, "Well, you know, my human, I gotta protect him. I know he would do the same for me." But then then Ninetales was like, "Human?" And the human had already scuttled off. And Ninetales was like, "Ah." So, the Ninetales predicted that one day, or sometime in the future, that human would be reborn as a Pokemon. And when that happens, then the world's balance or whatever would be shifted. I don't know. Bad stuff would happen. Anyway, that one is you, because you were chosen by Gardevoir, and they chose me to be Psyduck. I was the Psyduck, me. And that's where you meet Regis. Not everyone else meets Regis, but you get the idea. That's where you meet your partner. The partner then decides to end a Pokemon mystery team, rescue team, yeah. And while you're doing that, suddenly everyone else begins to, or eventually, you begin to see that, everyone else begins to see that the world is actually getting really messed up, and you're to blame. Everyone tries to attack you, and you have to go and convince all the other people to stop trying to kill you, which you do by killing all the legendaries. I don't know. And you eventually realize that, or Gardevoir eventually comes over and tells you, "Hey, wait a second, you weren't that human because that human's a dirtbag. So, yeah, you get to not be that human." I'm like, "Oh, okay. So what am I here for then?" She's like, "Well, you still have to fix the world because the world is still out of balance. Good luck." So, in the last itch effort to save the world, we go to Rayquaza. And Rayquaza is a dirtbag man because he's like, "Nah, I'm not gonna help anybody unless you kill me." And when you finally beat him, he's like, "Guess what? There's a comet coming. The comet's gonna destroy the world." And Rayquaza's like, "Oh no!" And he's like, and he blasts it up, and he blasts it, and then suddenly, like when it explodes, we get, and we like start smashing and falling into the ground, and we hit the ground, and we actually are alive though. So then everyone's really happy, like, "Oh my gosh, you guys did it!" But then suddenly you realize that your job here was finished, and Gardevoir told you a while ago, when your job's finished, you get to be a human again. And so he lifts into the sky, and it's a very touching moment for everyone. Everyone is all sad, and Regis cries. And as he flies up into the sky, he decides, "No, I have to go back. I have to go back and live the rest of my life as a Pokemon and become the best rescue team ever." And so as everyone goes back to our house, there's a sad day when suddenly he returns. Now there is stuff after this, and that stuff I didn't really record all of it because I already showed you pretty much all the game mechanics, and I already recorded like 5 hours of stuff, so it's not like you're missing that much. I did record a little bit more stuff though, like you can evolve your guys and you can have a different team captain so that you can level up your guys by themselves and not have like a level 22 Psyduck walking around with a level 10 Ladybug. Anyway, so my final thoughts on the game. Well, it's still pretty good. I still actually really like it, even though when I revisited it I forgot how atrocious the AI was in the game. There are still a few things that don't make it a complete 10 out of 10. Like, even though I like all the mechanics, there are still some bug things that I wouldn't care about, but would still mark it from being a perfect game. That being said, I still think it is an amazing game. I still think it's one of my favorite Pokemon games ever that isn't, you know, the other ones. And, yeah, I still think that it's a great game. If you're looking for a fun new Pokemon experience, check it out. I recommend the Blue Rescue Team and Red Rescue Team because those are the first ones, and it's the one I remember playing. I don't remember playing the Explorers of Time or Darkness ones. My final rating for this is an 8.5 out of 10. Oh yeah, and while I was making this, I figured out that there was a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon coming in. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. And that one looks really cool. And I might be getting it, maybe, if I can afford it. Who knows? Maybe Santa will bring it for Christmas.